Hey guys, I'm Hop, the TFBTV employee with the most student loan debt, and I'm out at the range today to shoot the new Kel-Tec P17. This is a 16-shot 22 caliber pistol with a threaded barrel that is smaller, lighter, and cheaper than a Taurus TX22. Let's take a look at it. The features and price point of the P17 make it hard to avoid comparisons to the Taurus TX22, which I reviewed a while back and really liked. Kel-Tec's new heater has the same 16-shot standard magazine capacity as the Taurus TX22, but it's about half an inch shorter and has a 3.9-inch barrel, about a quarter inch shorter than the Taurus. The TX22 is light at 17.3 ounces, but at 12.8 ounces, the P17 is so light it doesn't feel real. When you hold it in your hands, the MSRP of $199 doesn't feel so low after all. The P17 includes 3 16-round magazines in the box, which is a great value. The mag bodies are entirely plastic and are extremely small and lightweight. They're a bit hard to load without a follower hold-down button, but that omission definitely helps keep weight and size down and means there isn't a huge cutout in each side of the mag. I like to drop mags in the dirt at the range because I'm lazy, so hopefully that keeps them from getting too full of sand. The pistol comes with a thread protector installed, but it includes a thread adapter for use with standard 5x28 threaded suppressors. Also in the box is a handy tool to swap between the two. Up top, the P17 has a fiber optic pipe front sight and a black rear sight that is adjustable for elevation and windage. The paddle-style magazine release is ambidextrous, which is very cool, and the manual safety lever is also ambidextrous. The gun has a magazine disconnect, which is not as cool. The slide release is this tiny little sheet metal nubbin way up by the chamber. If you're not careful, you can accidentally chamber part of your thumb, which doesn't hurt but will almost definitely cause a malfunction. Mechanically, the gun is typical for a small rimfire pistol, straight blowback with a single action only trigger and an internal hammer. Aesthetically, the P17 takes Kel-Tec's usual tool room industrial minimalism to its logical conclusion. It looks like Royal Nunsuch and Echo Machine got together to see if they could fabricate a complete gun out of folded soda can, super soaker plastic, and self-tapping machine screws in under 24 hours. It looks like the handgun equivalent of one of those AR lowers made out of flat sheet steel screwed together. It looks like the kind of homemade gun you'd find sewn into a mattress in a Brazilian favela. It looks like a third trimester steampunk abortion. It looks, in other words, like an approximation of a gun. But as long as it works, I'm not complaining. So this is actually my second time trying to shoot the P17. Took it out yesterday and had no end of trouble with it. So today it is very clean, it is very well lubricated, and I'm shooting exclusively high-quality ammunition to see if we can get this thing to run properly. So first up, we got a full magazine of Federal high-velocity bulk. It's one of my favorite bulk ammunitions. Almost always works. So anyway, here's the part of the video where I tell you the P17 doesn't work. The first gun Kel-Tec sent me was, to put it mildly, a disaster. Reliability was somewhere in the 15 to 20% range. Almost every round would fail to chamber, but when it did chamber, it would almost always suffer from a light primer strike. Then, when I would rack the slide to clear the gun, it would very often fail to extract the live round from the chamber. I tried cleaning it and oiling it, and I ran the nicest 22 long rifle ammo money can buy through it. Federal high-velocity bulk, CCI mini-mag, CCI stinger, CCI velocitor, Winchester PowerPoint, the P17 mouthed constantly with every single one of them. It's going to be a real test here. So we've got a magazine loaded with CCI Stinger. CCI Stinger is an extremely high velocity, somewhat lower than average bullet weight round. It's also in nickeled cases, which should improve reliability just a little bit. And I've got a second magazine of CCI Velocitor. Velocitor being probably one of the best 22 long rifle loads you can get. It's standard, 40 grains, it's high quality, and it's very potent. So if that can't get this thing to function, then I don't think anything will. Start with the stingers. Light strike on the stingers. Light strike. Light strike. And failure to eject. Or failure to extract, I mean. Second chance. Light strike, failure to extract. Slide failed to lock open properly. It's kind of typical. Let's give these velocitors a shot. Awesome. Light strike, failure to extract, failure to lock open. Come on, baby. I gave it 2 range trips before I gave up and asked Kel-Tec about it. They said it was possible I got a pre-production sample by mistake, and they sent me a second pistol to test. The second one was better, but reliability was still a far cry from acceptable. Once again, I ran it with good quality ammo, lots of CCI Mini-Mag and Federal High Velocity, both of which are excellent rounds in most 22s. I also ran a bunch of Federal Auto Match on the theory that maybe the gun didn't like copper-washed rounds. And I shot another box each of CCI Stinger, CCI Velocitor, and Winchester PowerPoint. Oh, not this again. The replacement P17 exhibited all the same problems as the first, but with less frequency. Fresh out of the box and lubed, the gun was decent, but still suffering from light primer strikes with regularity. After about 200 rounds of break-in, it started to run pretty well, and it kept running well for about 100 more rounds, and then it started to run like crap again. At the end of the range session, the gun was running 100% with CCI Velocitor and close to 100% with CCI Stinger. The only problem is these loads cost as much as cheap 9mm, which obliterates the appeal of a 22 plinker, particularly a cheap one like the P17. I apologize if you see some repeating clips in this video, but I have way more footage of the P17 not working than I do of it working, and unfortunately for YouTube, footage of a gun not working doesn't really look like anything. Plus, I was swearing a lot in these clips, and I know how spicy words offend your delicate sensibilities. After I reviewed the Taurus TX22, I bought that gun from Taurus and have continued to shoot it regularly, suppressed and unsuppressed. I usually dump a few mags per range session, and it's probably over 4,000 rounds. It runs like a champ on any ammo and hasn't had worse than a stovepipe or two with subsonic in the last 1,000 rounds. The manual for the P17 says the gun should only be used with high-velocity, standard-weight ammo. They caution against using lower-velocity or lighter-weight ammo to ensure reliability. That rules out most bulk ammunition, and it's a big disappointment for me. I ran every kind of ammo I could find through the TX22, and it ran like a top with all of it, including subsonics and non-standard weight ammo like 45-grain suppressor loads or 21-grain CCI copper. So not only is the P17 offensively unreliable with all but the most high-end bespoke ammunition, you're also not supposed to run it with subsonics, which makes the use of a suppressor a lot less exciting. I got so mad at this gun. The unedited range day footage can't be aired because it's got so much swearing in it, and I just came away disappointed and angry. When it was working, I did enjoy shooting the P17. It's so light that even 22 long rifle has a bit of kick to it, which makes it more fun to shoot if you were weaned on centerfire cartridges like I was. The trigger isn't amazing, but it's totally shootable. A bit creepy, a bit spongy, but very light and with an audible reset. Because the fiber optic front sight is so thin and precise, the sight picture is very crisp. The P17 is surprisingly accurate despite being so small. And despite being so small and thin, it's still contoured very well. The waffle pattern frame texture isn't that grippy, and if you shoot two-handed with a thumbs high grip, there's a hot spot on the beaver tail that was a little annoying. Also, my left thumb kept resting on the takedown tab, which bounces around while firing and kinda hurts for some reason. I shot the P17 with a suppressor and a Streamlight TLR3 on it for ultimate tactical 22 flavor, which was maybe not ideal. The gun is so light and small that even a 1x6 inch all aluminum suppressor like mine completely throws it off balance. The addition of a weapon light probably didn't help either. Still, you gotta admit it looks really cool with a can and a weapon light on it. Takedown of the P17 is pretty easy. Getting it back together again isn't as easy. Clear the gun, pull the takedown tabs down, and retract the slide past the point where it clears the frame rails, then lift it up and slide it off. You have to have the thread protector or suppressor adapter off to do this. Once you have the slide off, this little retaining ring that goes between the recoil spring and the slide falls off, and then you have to go look for it. When putting it back together, it's annoying to get the retainer lined up with the spring just right so the spring doesn't bind up on the shelf of the barrel threads. I am not a super fan of this process. Despite all the little ergonomic annoyances of the Kel-Tec, a small, lightweight, high-capacity 22 like this is tons of fun to shoot. The problem is, all of that basically describes the Taurus TX22 as well, and in my experience, the Taurus is light years ahead of the P17 in reliability and is also better ergonomically. If you could get a P17 that works, it would excel in the role of a kit gun or an ultralight survival gun. In that role, it would be even better than a Taurus TX22. The P17 would also be a great training or plinking gun for smaller or younger shooters. You could get into a TX22 for around $200 during Taurus's rebate period over the summer. Assuming you can ever actually find the P17 in stock, it should hit prices even below the $199 MSRP. Is that cheap enough to make it a worthwhile purchase over the TX22? I have to say no. Even if it worked as well as the TX22, I would rather have the Taurus for those luscious ergonomics. That being said, I still hope Kel-Tec can iron out the kinks with this design, because more choices in the market is always a good thing. And I'm excited about a plinker this small and cheap that isn't hobbled by antiquated 10-round magazines. Also, it's cheap. Did I mention that? Thank you guys for watching the video. If you'd like to see more, make sure you subscribe to TFBTV and ring the notification bell, or you probably will not hear from us again. As always, I'd like to give a big thank you to Ventura Munitions for providing us with ammunition and sponsoring TFBTV. I shot a ton of federal ammo they provided for this review, and I also shot a bunch of my own specialty ammo to try and diagnose the freaking gun. If I had to provide all my own ammo to do these reviews, it would just not be feasible, so we really appreciate their support. We also appreciate the support of viewers like you who support this show on Patreon or Subscribestar. If you join our Patreon at patreon.com/tfbtv or our Subscribestar at subscribestar.com/tfbtv, you will be entered automatically to win a bunch of cool giveaways, and your support is what keeps us going. See you next time.